Today I'm doing a book haul where I'm going to be showing all the books that I've bought or been given over the past month or two. I don't normally buy books like in bulk, or I go on a big shopping spree and come back with like 15 books. I normally either see a book that I like, sit on it for a bit, wait for it to drop in price or something, or I will go in with the intention of like it's on sale and I'll buy like 4 books at a time. I don't really go super crazy with buying books just because I don't have the space at the moment. We are planning on doing wall-to-wall shelves on this wall just for my books and my boyfriend's books and DVDs because we are running out of space. We both have, well, I have a book cart and he has a DVD cart. But any other space in the house, like storage-wise, is just full of books and we're running out of space. So at the moment, I don't like to buy too many books. But at the same time, I'm just a girl and I like books, so I can't hold myself back fully. Today I'll be showing you the 15 books I've gotten over the past 2 months. So let's get into it. So the first book I got was The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, and I saw this book through Book of the Month. So unfortunately, Book of the Month don't ship to the UK. What I do instead is I will look on their website and see what books that they do have on offer because they are handpicked and tend to be really good books. And this was a book from last year that's been sitting on my mind for a while, and I got it during Prime Day because it was on sale. And so this book is basically, it's set in both present and past. There is an apothecary shop hidden in 18th century London where the owner of the shop sells potions and poisons to women who are specifically oppressed by men or are in a tough situation and need to get out, and they use these poisons to escape. And at the same time, during the present day, there's a historian that is trying to solve a mystery murder that had happened in this apothecary shop 200 years ago. And somehow both timelines start intertwining and it ends with, and not everyone will survive. I'm not really murder mystery or even just a mystery reader, but this did entice me, possibly because of the apothecary shop. This has been on my mind for a while and I decided to finally pick it up. So that's the first book I got. The next book I got was a romantic comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. This book came out last year and I saw it with a different cover. I think the American cover, it has like, it's pink and I think yellow or pink and white. I'm not a big fan of that cover. I think I do prefer this cover. And I had seen it when me and my boyfriend were on holiday in the UK and we went into a bookshop. And I had heard good things about it. Also, when I picked it up, it's like super floppy and I can't say no to a floppy book. Like, look at that. So this book is about a scriptwriter for like a TV comedy show who has given up on love and she doesn't think it's going to happen for her. And she makes this sketch about how guys in the industry will always end up with, you know, supermodels or glamorous actresses or like just super like gorgeous Hollywood celebrities. And she makes a sketch about how, oh, that would never happen the other way around. That is until she meets Noah, a famous pop idol who normally like dates the glamorous model, but he takes a liking to her and that's where the story goes. I really like the premise of the book. I like when stuff are set in Hollywood or like the celebrity lifestyle. I just like the aesthetic of like old Hollywood glam. I don't know if this is set in the past, but the cover gives me that impression. Not that I'll be disappointed if it is set in the present day. I'm really excited for this book and I'm excited for how floppy it is. The next book I got is Tom Lake by Anne Pratchett, and this is on my September TBR this month. It is about a mother who tells her kids about this romance she had when she was younger, when she was on the stage. I think she was in theatre, or was she on TV? No, she was a film star. So yeah, it's basically telling the story of her past, this lover that she had. And it gave me slight reminiscence of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, only because in that you have a separate storyline where you learn how the mother had met this famous rock star father and the storyline of their love and how their love just dwindled over years and eventually he left. I don't know if he leaves her in this book, but like I said, I like that Hollywood romance feel, as in the glamorous pop star or actress or actor falls in love with the ordinary person. Not super realistic, but also I always feel like when it's set in the past, it feels slightly more realistic than if it was set in today's day and age. I don't know why. The next I got was Hello Beautiful by Anna Napolitano. I don't know how many people have mentioned it on BookTube, but it is the 100th Oprah Winfrey Book Club pick. I knew Reese Witherspoon had a book club, but I didn't know that Oprah Winfrey did. But I'm sure that it means this is a great pick. It's about 4 sisters who have a really close-knit friendship and relationship with each other, and then this guy comes into their lives that has had a rough childhood and background, and either one of them falls for him, or like they just start melding, but it causes rifts in their relationships, and there's a change in dynamic for the whole family. I've heard there's some heavy topics in here, so definitely look into it if you're wanting to read it. It's a thick book, but I'm sure I'll love it. And so yeah, I'm excited to read this one. Next I got, my boyfriend got for me, Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter. She wrote Better Than the Movies, The Do-Over, The Love Wager. What else has she written? Mr. Wrong Number. I've read Better Than the Movies, The Do-Over, and The Love Wager by her. This one, I don't know if I have a feeling this one's a young adult. She writes both young adult and adult fiction, and I have a feeling this one's a young adult. Basically, this is a fake dating romance. They make a bet, and essentially they've fallen in love with each other, but neither of them want to say, is what I'm guessing it's about. It is a thick romance book. Like, it's 412 pages long. I prefer it when they're in that sweet spot of around 300. If it's not just under 300, like 290, it's like perfect. But whenever it reaches the 400 mark, I do find they tend to drag near the end. I feel like there's some miscommunication that's just thrown in to extend it by another 100 pages. And most of the time I feel like they don't need it. So I'm hoping that this does not fit into that, and that there's a reason that it's 400 pages long. But I do love Lynn Painter, so I have my trust in her, and I'm sure it'll be a great book. The next book I got was Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. This is unique in a way that it's part of the Meant to Be novel series, which is a series where different authors have written romance books based on different fairy tales. So if you can guess, this one's based on Tangled, and it's basically just a modern retelling of Tangled. I wasn't that interested in the other ones, mostly just because there have been so many fairy tale retellings, and I haven't really seen a Rapunzel one. Like, I've seen Cinderella, I've seen, Beauty and the Beast. That's been done like over and over. But Rapunzel I haven't really seen. So I'm curious as to how they've modernized this. The next book I got is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I started reading Ashley Poston this year. I've read The Dead Romantics and her newest book, A Novel Love Story, and I love them both. And I've heard a lot of good things about this one. I'm pretty sure this is probably her best performing novel to date. I say that as if she's written loads. She's done 3, but I'm really excited about this one. If you don't know what the premise is about, it's basically about this girl whose apartment slips through time 7 years. So either 7 years into the future or 7 years into the past. And when her apartment slips 7 years into the past, she meets this man and they fall in love, obviously. I feel like Ashley Poston does a really good magical realism book. Her stories are always like, it's the perfect amount. She never really explains why it happens, but at the same time, you don't need to know why. You don't need to know why the apartment travels in time. It just does. And it's fun and it's cute, and it will probably hurt at the end, but then she'll fix it. This book and the next book I got are one of those books that I read when I was younger, and it's always kind of stuck in my head, but no one talks about them. And I don't know many people who have heard of these books. So this book is All Rights Reserved by Gregory Scott Katasoulis. I think I'm saying his name correctly. I remember reading this book when I was young. This book apparently though came out in 2017, so I must have been 16. I thought I was younger than that. But either way, what this book is about, it's set in this dystopian future where every word is copyrighted, and when you speak, you have to pay for each word that you say. And up until a certain age, you're allowed to speak without paying because you're a child. But the moment you turn, I think it's like 16 or something, you have to make this speech, and it's your first speech that you make where you have to pay for the words that you're saying. And the main character, her family is very poor. And so essentially she is worried about having to spend money because she doesn't have any money to spend. And for her speech, she decides to go silent. And this whole revolution starts because of that. It becomes an avalanche of events because of that one choice that she had made. And it's about basically destroying the government and all that. It's very 2000s, but I did really like it when I read it, and so I wanted to get the book again just to reread it because I don't remember everything that happened. I got it off eBay secondhand because they don't print it anymore, I don't think. I will probably reread this like a lot later because I have new books that I want to get through, but when I feel like picking it up, it'll be there. The next book I got is also a book from my childhood, and again, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this book. I remember when it came out and like the book YouTubers that I was watching at the time had mentioned it, and I read it and I loved it. But since then, no one's really spoken about it. This book is The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. So this book is set in a world where every 12 years, everyone's memory gets wiped. You don't remember anything, you wake up basically a clean slate. And people have learned to write down everything that happens to them, all their memories, everything that they know, who they are as a person essentially, so that when they wake up the day after forgetting everything, they can read the diary and know who their friends are, who their family are, what they do. But it also means that people can tell themselves lies, so that people can write in the diary and say, oh, I've done this and I do this, when really that they don't. But who's to say if it's true or not, because everyone forgets. But our main character, she does not forget. She seems to be some abnormality that isn't affected by this memory forgetting epidemic that they have. And it's basically about her life trying to figure out these secrets that everyone else is having, because she knows the truth. I can't really remember what happens other than the premise, but it has been one of those books that replays on my mind, so I wanted to get it again. And I got this one off eBay as well. It's a secondhand book, and I think it was from a library, and they've put tape all over the cover so that it's protected, obviously, because when people took it out, they didn't want it to get damaged. But I did get a hardback without knowing I was going to get a hardback, so that was a pleasant surprise. The next book I got is Girlfriend on Mars by Deborah Willis. I had seen this in Waterstones when I was there with my boyfriend, and the premise really intrigued me. It's basically about this reality TV show where they send contestants to Mars. The main character, basically, she is sick of her life. She has no goals or ambitions, so she decides to sign up to this reality TV show, and she's accepted and she's sent to Mars. However, her boyfriend Kevin is still on Earth, and it's this long distance relationship that he's watching her on TV while he's stuck at home watching her. Reality TV shows are scripted in a way, and how social media is this fake image presented to everyone, but Kevin obviously doesn't know that, being away from her on Earth and she's on Mars. It's about how their relationship evolves with this distance and with this image that she has to present herself with while she's on this reality TV show. But I am curious as to how they do it. So yeah, I'm excited for this book. The next book is Hotel 21 by Senta Rich. I'm currently reading this book, actually. I don't know if you can see how far I am there, and I'm really enjoying this book. It is about this girl, Noelle, who is a hotel cleaner. However, she likes to take souvenirs. She likes to steal stuff. Only small things that no one cares about, like a hairband or some tweezers or half a bottle of foundation, old foundation that is no longer in use. But she gets this rush from stealing things, and she has to move from hotel to hotel when people get suspicious of her or when a complaint is made. And so this story is following her 21st hotel, but she starts to make friends with the people on her team, and she starts to question if she wants to move on to the next thing, if she wants to continue stealing. I'm flying through this book. I started it yesterday, and by the end of the day, I was already 100 and so pages in. I have flown through it. I'm obsessed with it at the moment, really. And after this video, I'm going to go back to reading it. Honestly, I do recommend this book. I haven't heard many people talk about it, but it is a debut novel by Senta Rich, and I am in love with it. The next book I got is Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. This was on clearance at Waterstones. I think it's their special edition book because it's got the lovely sprayed edges. I do love a sprayed edge. And I think it's got... oh no, it's just a normal black cover. I do feel like they miss out on not having something on the cover, but a sprayed edge is more than enough. And more when it's just it's got something on it rather than it just being green. This is about Greek mythology, about Medusa, and I am a Greek mythology girl. I grew up reading Percy Jackson, reading anything that was to do about Pegasus or Greek gods or demigods. I love that world. And so this book is essentially not a retelling of Medusa. It's not set in present day, but it is telling the story from Medusa's side. And so I was really intrigued by this. And it was on clearance with sprayed edges, so of course I was going to get it. The last book I got is The Divorcees by Rowan Baird. I saw this in Waterstones with my boyfriend again. We love to go to Waterstones. It's a great pastime for us. But I saw this book, I think it's a new release of like a couple months. I think it came out in May, I want to say. This is on my September TBR and I've already finished it. I'll explain my thoughts in my monthly wrap-up. This book is set in 1951, where a woman, Lois, wants to get divorced from her husband. But to get divorced in 1951, you have to go to the Nevada state, because that's the only state in the US where you're allowed to get divorced. So she has to spend 6 weeks in a ranch in Reno, Nevada, so that after the end of the 6 weeks, she can say that she's a resident of Nevada and be granted a divorce. She makes friendships with the other girls at the ranch, but things start to get a bit complicated when this new girl arrives. And she turned out to be this queen bee of the ranch. Everyone wants her attention. But things start to go a bit pear-shaped. Things start to go wrong. And Lois, the main character, is trying to navigate that while trying to find her own identity as a single woman, as a woman that is no longer going to be tied to a husband or a father or a name. And what is she going to do, like, after she gets divorced? This was an interesting read. It is very much character heavy and not plot heavy. So if you prefer a plot, I wouldn't recommend this book. But it is an interesting read to be in Lois, the main character's head. And the last two books of the haul, which haven't arrived yet, they're getting delivered today, is the Dance of Thieves duology. I have been meaning to get this duology for a while. I know people think highly of it. I want a fantasy series that isn't like super long. 2 books is like perfect. I mean, I don't mind a 3-book fantasy series either, but they are thick books, so I am excited to delve into that. I don't know what they're about, and I don't have the blurbs to tell you, but it's such a popular series anyway, so I'm sure you already know what it's about. So these are all the books for my haul. If you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, comment, subscribe, all those YouTube things, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!